This here is this piece of wood. Daniel said, "Dad, I'm mowing down there, and I think it may be a pine heart." Now, what a pine heart is, a big pine trees, old mature pine trees, they have a heart, and that heart is real rich. You can stick a match to that, it's gonna burn like crazy. I mean, that's how people in this part of the country start their fires. It's called pine heart. And yes, that's pine heart. He wanted to know, was that pine heart? If it was, he's gonna bring it home. And I said, yeah, I'll just go check it. So I chipped off a piece, and in the process, I looked over here, and he's pushed up a smaller piece over here. That's also pine heart out of a pine tree. Now, a tree, pine tree, it dies or whatever, it'll rot away if it just lays there long enough. But that heart will not rot. And that is where all the sap, it's just, a lot of people call it kindling. My dad called it kindling. These old big pine trees, in the core of those trees, in the core of these trees, there will be a big pine heart going all the way up. And where the limbs come off, you'll see like little old things back there sticking out. Those were the limbs. Those are the heart. It's the heart of the tree. The heart dies, the whole tree dies. And that tree can fall and rot completely away. That heart will not. It'll lay there from now on. And people used to scour the woods for old pine hearts. They call them pine knots, where the old limbs broke off. And that's what they started their fires with. And my uncle would come over here from West Texas for church homecomings. And he would call me and say, "I am coming down for homecoming. Can you find me some pine knots?" But they didn't have nothing like that out in West Texas. And he had a wood heater. And he'd buy wood to burn, but there wasn't no pine knots. And he was growing up here in East Texas, and he wanted pine knots to start his fire. So for about 2 weeks before homecoming at church, I'd be out scouring the woods for pine knots. And you can find them everywhere. They was everywhere. And where no trees been cut down, the stump, the pine heart stump will remain. And I'll show you one here in a second. Around where trees have been cut away or cut down at one time, 50, 60 years ago or longer, and the old stump is rotted away. But the part that remains is the pine heart. And you can come and chop off pieces and start a fire with a match. You can see one, there's one right down there. You see it sticking up there. That's one. I've cut off that stump many a time to start fires. And there's another one right over here. Right there in those bushes. You see that white stump? That's a pine heart. Another one right on up here. And I've cut off all of them at one time or another. My dad's cut off of them. And there's one on my driveway. Yeah, my grandpa may have cut off of them. But I know my dad has. I am too. And here's another one right here. That once was the heart of a big pine tree like that one. And it got cut down, and that tree rotted away. That's what's left. All right, that's a lesson on pine hearts. Thanks, guys. Heidi, you want to say anything about pine hearts? Heidi. Heidi's ignored me. I ain't got time for pine hearts, Pawpaw. It's getting late. Probably need to go get a snack. All right. We got a heavy frost last night. You can see how fast it went from green to brown. And we're not going to see no more green until spring. There's still a little bit, not very. And there'll be a little bit of green below that tall ground grass. But not much. It won't won't stay green for long. But it looked like snow out here this morning. That frost come in here last night. We got down, I think, about upper 20s. Clear skies, and it got cold. Now I'm gonna show you something. We talk about those pine hearts. So if you'll look right ahead of me, I told you those two big trees. Lightning hit these trees a couple, 2 or 3 years ago. Both these trees. Now they have big pine hearts in them, and we're talking about pine hearts. If you just use them to start fires, will last for years and years and years and years. So when they fall, and they're dangerous to cut right now. They should have been cut probably as soon as they died, because right now the tops are rotten. And you start cutting on them, you can have what they call a widowmaker. Top will break out and come down on top of you and kill you. So we'll let them fall, and they'll fall during one of these storms, and when they do, they'll rot away and they'll leave pine heart. And I'm not going to do it today, but I will tomorrow, maybe if I can, or I may later. But anyway, I'm going to cut up a piece of pine heart for you and show you how rich it is and how easy it is to stick a match to it and you got a fire. And that people use them to start their fires. You don't burn them just you know, to heat your house, but you can start a fire so easy with them. And they burn long enough to ignite your other wood, your other dry wood that you might put on top of them. But we'll probably call that video Pine Knot 101. All right, I gotta get back to the house. I can't leave Gigi or Nive and all of them very long. They all dependent on me, so I gotta kind of hang with them. Oh, and I was going to say something too about my brother. You know, Kenny, cousin Kenny, that's my brother's son. He's been running back and forth to the hospital checking on his dad and stuff. Well, all of a sudden, Kenny can't go because Kenny's got COVID. Hopefully supposedly he didn't have it when he was back and forth, because it's been a couple of days in between. I'm hoping that he didn't spread it to nobody. And but anyway, he's laid up. I don't think it's going to be a severe case, because he said just mainly a little fever and sniffles and stuff. But so we'll have to see. So you pray for him too, old Kenny. All right, thank y'all, folks. This is a pine heart. You split this off in little pieces and you start a fire so easy. It smells so rich. We'll do that tomorrow. It's kind of late today. All right, that pine heart is in the heart of every big pine tree. Smaller the tree, the smaller the heart. Now this one is not as rich as some of them are. Some of them are just very red looking with so much pine tar or pine sap in them. But either way, they still build a fire real easy. A lot of people in East Texas for centuries have used these old pine knots, pine hearts, to start their fires in the wintertime in their fireplaces or heaters, whatever. Now, even some people make money with them. Kim bought me a little can one time for Christmas. And about the size of that little cutoff there, and it was a can, but it had a bunch of little pieces of pine heart in it to start fires with. It's real cute. But people make money off stuff like that. And like I told y'all earlier, my uncle would call from West Texas before he'd come from homecoming for me to gather up as much pine knots, he called them, that I could find. And they'd be everywhere. I'd find an old pine tree down, be pine knots everywhere. And I'd gather them up for him every year. But tomorrow we'll split this up a little bit, and a lot of them are a lot richer than this. And I'll show you how easy they are to start a fire with them. All right, catch you guys later. I got to feed up. It's getting late. Okay, y'all remember yesterday I cut that wood off that pine heart, and I told you I'd show you how good this stuff is for starting a fire. This is just some chips of it, and the wind's blowing, so come on now. That's my experiment. It was wind. Just lights right up. Keep it out of the wind. Look at that. Pine heart. And you can take it and start a fire with it real easy. Oops. And then you can start putting your dry wood, once it gets going good, around it, and you've got a good fire. Now I know there's other ways to start a fire. This is the way we used to do it in East Texas. Well, we still do, if you can find pine heart. Some folks go to the national forest, some old trees will fall from natural causes, and they'll find pine knots or pine heart and bring it home. But you can see what kind of fire it builds. Pretty good, huh? That stuff's pretty rich. Pretty rich. Pretty good stuff. It smokes, but you can start stacking dry wood around it and you'll have a fire. Okay, I just want to show you that. That's what we use in this day, just for demonstrations. I've built from topless of a stove, but it would be inside, and once it starts drawing a draft, it would go fast. See how rich that stuff is. All right. Okay, I'm about to smoke me out. See, quite a fire, can't you? Now, it smokes, but if that's inside your heater, it's not a big deal. But here's on top. Anyway, I'm going to blow this thing out, and sometimes they're even hard to blow out. Watch it. What I'm saying? That stuff's tough. It makes a great fire. So that's what we used. All right, I'm going to end this video right here. I just want to tell you folks, I hope you enjoy this, a little bit about pine hearts and East Texas and pine knots. You know, My great grandpa, I have his hatchet. I don't have it available right now, but I have his hatchet that he used to cut what he called kindling. This is what he'd call kindling. He'd take a pine chunk of that pine like I cut off yesterday and split it up in little bitty pieces like this here, just like this one. And in his hatchet, he kept it sharp and he kept it stuck in a block of wood. And the rule was nobody messes with his hatchet as far as kindling. And if one of the kids messed with it, they were in trouble. And it was passed down to my grandpa, and the rule still applied. And then it got passed down to my dad, and that rule still applied. My dad kept it at the wood pile. Nobody messes with the hatchet. It's for the kindling. And there's always a big pile of pine knots there, pine heart. And anyway, my dad gave me the hatchet. The old handle was gone out of it when he gave it to me, and I put a new handle in it, but I don't use it. It's just a keepsake. All right, I'm gonna end this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. You saw what pine knots do. If I can, I would get a piece of this out of here so you can see how it bubbles. I don't know if you can see the bubbles right in here, the bubbles. That sap still bubbling. You see the bubbles all in it. It's hot, bubbling up. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. And I love you folks. Take care.